Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our NFL Week 8 preview between the Buffalo Bills and the New Orleans Saints. Now let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with the Bills.
The Bills' two-headed monster in the backfield with C.J. Spiller and Fred Jackson could be the key catalyst in Buffalo knocking off New Orleans in the Superdome. We know they can run the football. Both guys average over 4 yards a carry, but I believe they have the matchup advantage versus the linebackers of the New Orleans Saints in the passing game. Now, I've said this before, but it's even more important this week versus the Saints is that the Bills have to find a way to utilize both guys in the backfield at the same time. Defensively, you can't give Graham a free release off the line of scrimmage. You have to stay physical with him no matter where he lines up. You have to be able to get a hand on him, and you always want to identify where Darren Sproles is in the passing game. So it'll require a little bit of pattern reading by the secondary. Depending on where he's aligned in the backfield, the safety and the cornerback, in my opinion, will have to be in communication for this to happen effectively. Now let's move over to the Saints in this ball game. That offensive line will face a huge test this week versus the Buffalo Bills. Expect to see multiple defensive fronts, all of which designed to get interior pressure on Drew Brees from the Bills defense. So the interior offensive line, that's guard, center, guard, on both ends of offense will have to bring their A game. Defensively, it's about gap responsibility in the running game. The Bills' run game is similar to the Dolphins' run game, where the guard play is key. So being able to reestablish the line of scrimmage and not allow those guards to climb to the second level goes a long way in making the Buffalo Bills one-dimensional on offense.
This week versus the New Orleans Saints, I believe the Buffalo Bills can have success in the red zone by going with the bunch formation in hopes to get a running back matched up on a linebacker or creating those natural rub routes to sneak that guy underneath on the crosser. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. You see right here, we have the 3-4. We also have the bunch set out of the gun. And what we're going to do right off the bat, we're going to swing this guy out. Hopefully trying to draw one of these linebackers, get these guys caught up in the wash, which is going to take place here. Now we're going to have the guy at the top of the bunch. He's going to run the curl route. So he's going to stem up, come in, boom, running the curl, because we have the guy on the inside running the flag, hopefully putting the strong safety in the bind, and we're going to slow play the crosser. So the guy's going to work up and then come across. So now you have your hitch on the backside. So now you have a situation where, let me show you, the strong safety has to make a choice. If they're playing certain coverages where, okay, we're going to play cover 3, we're going to drop this guy back, we're going to slow play him in the flat, we're also going to drop him in the flat as well. We have the safety going this way, we have the guy come here, boom. So now you see where this will be the first read, this will be read number 2, and this will be read number 3, and this is also your built-in hot read. So if they send this guy here, you have the built-in hot read right here. You also know this guy will be matched up one-on-one here, and you have a situation here, so you're gonna go here first. So it's a great play for a young quarterback in Thad Lewis, and it's also a great play versus an over-aggressive defense because you're gonna get guys on natural picks and rubs. I think the Buffalo Bills can have success in the red zone by bunching their offensive formation, hopes to get Fred Jackson or C.J. Spiller or whomever is in the backfield one-on-one with the backer, or hopefully get big play where we have the flag route or your curl going inside. So I think that's how they can have success this week versus the New Orleans Saints. This week versus Buffalo, the Saints will see a lot of bunch, and I think if they jump into the 3-3-5, I think they can protect themselves underneath and deep with 2 safeties playing cover 2. I'm gonna show you how they can get that done. See, we have the 3-3-5 set up. You have your rover back here. What we're gonna do on the outside, we're gonna play cover 2. So this guy's gonna get a good jam, trying to funnel this receiver inside, and he's responsible for his curl out responsibility. He has curl out on the backside. We also have the safeties playing cover 2 responsibility, so they're responsible for half the field. Now where we have the bunch set, what we're gonna do, we're gonna force this cornerback to get a bump on whomever is gonna take the outside release, whether it be this corner or the guy at the top of the bunch or whomever. He has to get a bump, try to funnel that receiver inside, and he's responsible for only the out. Why? Because we have the guy at the top of the bunch responsible for the curl. So now we're protected versus the slant, and we're protected versus the out. We're also going to have the outside backer in the 3-3-5 set be responsible for the hook. So now we're protected versus the trip side. We're also going to get pressure with the back because we have the 5 technique pushing out. We're going to run a twist, a double A gap blitz between the tackle and the backer. So weak side, strong side, and we're dropping this guy back in hook responsibility. So that right there, hook the curl responsibility. So that right there, you're well protected. So what we have, front side, hook the curl, hook, curl, out. All covered, deep halves on the back end, getting pressure down the A gap with the nose tackle and the middle backer, and we're also protected versus the hook on the weak side, hook the curl on the weak side, and we have the corner getting a good jam. So I believe this is how the Saints can situationally go to the 3-3-5, protect themselves versus the bunch, which they will see a lot of this week versus the Buffalo Bills.
The X factor in this game for the Bills will be their red zone offense. They're going to have to maximize those possessions they get in the red zone with 7 instead of 3. If they can capitalize in the red zone versus the Saints defense, it goes a long way in helping the Bills win this ball game. The X factor for the Saints will be the run defense. The Buffalo Bills are one of the best running teams in the league with both C.J. Spiller and Fred Jackson in the backfield. Both guys are capable not only of chewing up the TOP, but also breaking away for a long run. So the Saints defense, in particular the front 7, has to come ready to play. Now here are some coaching points for both teams in this ballgame. For the Bills, I look at the big matchup between Kiko Alonso and Drew Brees. He's an excellent coverage linebacker, and he's going to have to match wits with Drew Brees in the passing game in order for the Bills to be successful. And they also have to make it a boring game, and that's giving the Saints a heavy dose of that ground game. 3 first downs per possession of flip field position in case you can't move the football any further. That's how you win the football game on the road versus a tough team that has an explosive offense like New Orleans. And I would go with the big nickel look versus the Saints offensive attack. 3 safeties versus the Saints personnel, especially when you see Sproles and Graham on the field at the same time. And for the Saints in this ball game, you want to win the individual battles on the defensive line. Like I said before, the Bills love to move their guards in the running game, and guard play is important. So if you slow down the guards, you slow down the Bills rushing the football. And the wide receivers have to become more involved in the passing game. 5 out of the 7 leading receivers on the Saints team are non-wideouts. You have to get those wideouts involved in the passing game. It'll expand the field even more so. Because right now I believe the Saints are getting predictable in the passing game with both Sproles as well as Jimmy Graham. And you have to find creative ways to block in the running game. Keep it big on big up front, but maybe flex the fullback to get a better angle. Also, maybe you can wham the tight end or crack with the wide receiver. Use different positions to create opportunities in the running game. I like the Saints in this ballgame, although this one will be closer than what people think. I like the matchup between Buffalo's front 7 and that Saints offensive line. They're going to have to be able to block up front, but I do believe ultimately the Saints defense will be the reason why they knock off the Bills. They'll make them one-dimensional and force 3 and outs and being able to get the ball back for Drew Brees in that Saints offense. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Saints fan forums and Bill fan forums for always showing football game plan support.